Hello again. I'm afraid this video will be of rather limited interest to most viewers, but there are some people who comment on this channel every day, it seems to me, making some remark about how Israel should accept refugees and asylum seekers, and about how the Israelis are dead keen on immigration and diversity in Europe, but not so fond of it in their own country. It's stupid and untrue, of course, but like something water dripping on a stone, it gradually starts to wear one down and gets a bit irritating. So I thought I would just say a few words about Israel and immigration. Israel is probably the most ethnically diverse country in the world. I mean, I'll give a few examples. Something like 30,000 Ukrainian refugees have arrived in the country since the war began in Ukraine. The great majority of these refugees are not Jewish. The thumbnail to this video shows an interesting photograph which was taken in Tel Aviv. Have a look at it. It shows a huge crowd of black people in an angry mood. Not a white person to be seen. A little over 400,000 people live in this, Israel's second largest city. Over 40,000 of the inhabitants, around 10%, are African asylum seekers. They're not Jews, but people from Sudan, Somalia and so on who have come to Israel and claimed asylum. Hand on heart, how many viewers knew this? Do they know what the percentage of the population of Beersheba, Arad or Eilat are African? I wonder if they know about the so-called Black Hebrews, African Americans who arrived in Israel in the 1970s and 1980s, claiming that they were really the original Israelites. They're a bit like the Black Muslims. Although they're not Jewish and have no connection at all with the country, they now form a substantial settlement in Dimona in the Negev. The Israelis gave them citizenship. How many viewers remember the terrible famine in Ethiopia in 1984? While we were fooling around with Live Aid and sending money to Ethiopia, Israel flew 7,000 Ethiopians to Israel, where they still live. In 1991, Operation Solomon took place, in the course of which 14,000 Ethiopians were airlifted directly from Ethiopia to Israel. Then there are the Indians, who are arriving in large numbers and becoming citizens. More than half the people in Israel have their family origin in Arab countries: Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, Syria, Yemen and so on. Then there are all the Russian immigrants, the majority of whom are not halakhically Jewish. Add to that mix the Druze, Arabs, Jews whose origins are European, and you have a country which is more mixed and diverse than most places, certainly a damn sight more so than Britain or any other European country. Where people get the idea that Israel doesn't take immigrants or refugees is something of a mystery to me. I'm not going to be saying any more on this subject. This is just only a brief thing, just because it's starting to annoy me seeing stupidness. Anyway, this is the only mention I'm going to be making of this, the subject of immigration and diversity in Israel.